Rick, what are your biggest takeaways now that you've had a night to sleep on what you saw last night?
Yeah, just nice win, but right back at it. I like the thing I like the last couple of days is the energy level's really high, so you want to keep that momentum with the energy.
What's been the most impressive thing on and off the ice from these new guys and how they're coming into this room?
Well, it's just they've only been here a few days, but to me, the excitement of being traded here, which is nice, seemed like just from doing research on them, very coachable kids, very coachable, want to learn, and the enthusiasm they're bringing to our team.
Our daily Quin update.
Yeah, he's not going to make the trip. It's a day-to-day thing right now. He'll stay back. Whether he skates tomorrow, we'll talk about that later today.
Would he try to maybe practice with you Friday just to see where he's at?
When you get possibility. Yeah. I don't want to say for sure, but he's we want to make sure that he's right.
Chytil keeps climbing the charts. PP1 today. Obviously rationale is good there with everything he does. Right?
I think patience with a puck, being able to come up with loose pucks with people on top of them. Those are the guys you want. His vision, and he's got a good shot. So, I think he deserves a shot to get up there.
Is he? I mean, it's only 2 games.
Yeah.
Is Chytil better than you thought you were getting? He was a guy in New York.
Yeah, I didn't know much about him. To be honest, I watched a little bit about him when I watched the Rangers, but what I noticed from behind the bench is in the neutral zone, being able to get the puck and keeping it, and then attacking. Listen, sometimes there's no play, but there a lot of times there is a play, and he's finding it, and puts teams on pause. Instead of just staying on the outside and chipping it in. I think he's a guy that's willing to take that puck and try to find something else.
As a coach, every player is looking for opportunity. So when you see his skill set, and he's 25, so he's not young, but he's not old.
Yeah.
Do you see much higher ceiling for him potentially than what he has shown to this point in the NHL?
Yeah, it's a short sample size, but there is definitely there's a level there. There's definitely I was talking to Phil Aronic, countryman. He knows him. There's definitely, and you can tell he wants to show that there's another level. And I think as a coaching staff, we want to help him get there. But there's some things. He's got the characteristics of a guy that can be a 200-foot, tall, lanky centerman.
Could he end up being your face-off guy? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know what's his 48% when he got here, somewhere around there, and he hasn't seemed like a 48% guy. So if he can really be good on the dots, which we really need, that really help. Obviously, Mills was a big part of our face-off, so if he can help out and shore that up, that would really help.
Is that because he was a third-line guy in the Rangers, and maybe the matchups he might have faced tougher guys in the circle?
It's a good question. I don't know. Yeah. But there's been some pressure situations. I put him out there, and he's won a draw. So that's a good sign.
How much do you get involved when you're interested in players, not just the player but the person? I mean, it's only been a few days, but the vibe in the room is noticeable. Yeah. When a guy like Marcus Pettersson comes in, he's not afraid to speak up. Yeah. How valuable is that as a coach? Because you want them to set the culture, you want them to set the vibe, and it's noticeable.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to overstate everything, and it's I'm not a roller coaster type of guy, but I will say, the last 3 or 4 days, there's definitely I know we just finally had our first practice, but there is a nice energy in there, and when you have bring in 5-6 new guys, there's new energy, and like I said, the one thing I can tell you, they want to be coached. That's nice.
Rick, when these players first arrived, you talked about how you don't want to put too much on them system-wise. How has that progressed over the last couple of days? Have you been able to talk to them about the system a little bit more? Yeah, a little bit. I think D-zone coverage, I think I got to spend some time with Chytil here a little bit on just, there's a couple of times where he was running around because I don't know if that's a system thing, man. I don't know if I don't think Rangers played man. Maybe they played man on man. We don't play man on man. So just a couple of little coverage things that we'll have to clean up. But like I said, I don't want to overload him. He's doing fine right now, but we will sit down. And I talked to Nate about that. I want to watch video with him and show him a couple things of what we do here. But so you give him a little bit of time. And with the Four Nations, we talked about Quin, but Crosby was injured last night. As a coach, how does that process work with you guys? Do you have a list of players that are replaceable depending on who goes out?
Yeah, we had a call 3 days ago. Excuse me, 3 days ago of who would be our choice for the next guy. Obviously the defense. We still got to figure that out with Pietrangelo, but we also talked about forwards. 2 or 3 guys are in the mix here in the next 5 days. I don't know when they're going to announce it, but yeah, we have talked about that.
Rick, what was behind the move to bring Almond back, and was Carlson okay last night, or took a stick in a place you don't want to take a stick?
No, it wasn't. I think because Abbotsford, what we've done here, and I remember doing this in Pittsburgh. I don't mind this. Plus, the positional, I like having that extra centerman. Obbs has played really well. It's got nothing to do with Carlson. He could be up in the next couple of days. It's just being able to get a guy to practice with us. I like that. Patrick likes that. Jim likes that. So it's got nothing. It's no indictment. I think Carly's game has been coming, and I think it's important that we can rotate a couple of guys. That's what we feel like.
You said yesterday you hadn't even thought about Four Nations with regard to Quin.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't even come up.
Yeah.
At what point will it come up?
Well, it's getting close. It's a good question. Is it depends on the next 48 hours? I guess that's really comes down to. So we'll sit down with Quin and talk to him.
If he's not able to play on Saturday, do you think that's an indication that maybe he shouldn't be playing at the Four Nations?
It could be. Depends on how close he is to plan on Saturday. That's really what it comes down to. But yeah, it's gonna have to have a hard, long look at this. Like every player, you're concerned about safety and healthy and all that stuff.
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
he's wanting to play these games, right? He says he can play.
Like our games now.
Yeah. He wants
Well,
to
I mean, he wants to play, but we don't. He can't play. Put it this way, I can be the bad guy. I don't care. Like he's not going to play. Yeah, would he try to gut it out? But I think he's a smart kid too. He knows like gutting it out. It's not going to help our team. For us, last game of the year, I don't even know if he'd play. Probably, but right now it's the kid's got a big will to play. But he knows. He knows better than that.
What about the runway too? I mean, the tournament's great, but the stretch drive is obviously more important. I mean, how do you even broach that?
Well, it's tough, like in Pietrangelo, he's made that decision. So I don't know. It's a tough one because I know Quin is a USA guy, loves his country, play with his brother. There's a lot of positives to it, but like I said, we got to. He's a smart kid too. He understands what's at stake also.
We saw him skate yesterday morning. Did he skate today on his own? Do you know? Or?
He did not skate today. No.
Well, Carson, obviously a great game last night from your group. Take us through it. What positives are you pulling from it?
Pretty close to a full 60. I think we countered their response well in the second too. Having the 1-goal lead, they obviously had some shifts. Unbelievable saves by Demmer, but we kind of just didn't sit back. We kind of kept pushing, created our own scoring chances still.
How about for you personally after missing the game prior, getting back in there? How did you feel?
Yeah, I felt good. Just want to kind of get back to, playing the way I can, being aggressive, being confident.
What have your early impressions of Elias Pettersson, the defenseman, been?
Yeah, he's been good. Skates well, big body, physical. I like his game a lot.
I don't want to make you dwell on it, but when you're a healthy scratch as a veteran, how do you process it? How do you handle it?
I mean, I've been there before. After 50 games in, a reset's it's not a bad thing. It's not terrible to watch a game from up top. You kind of see certain plays develop easier, obviously, up there that you can kind of hopefully translate when you get back in, and then ultimately you just work hard, get a workout in, do some conditioning, kind of come back ready to play.
Do you agree with the coach's assessment that there is more to give?
Yeah, I mean, I know I got more to give, especially coming from last year. I think kind of just a tough start's led to not my best play, but like I said, a little reset, kind of come back, just try to get that confidence, get that aggressiveness back.
How comfortable are you on the right side? I know you've played over there at times. Is it an easy enough switch?
Most games, yeah. There seems to be some games where, you're getting more on your backhand. You're having a tougher time just kind of holding the gap a little bit, or surfing's a little different on that side. But for the most part, you get like decent looks in the O zone, in the neutral zone, kind of. Seems like you're coming on your forehand. But it is sometimes game by game. Some days it feels like on the right side you get a couple more on the backhand where you're kind of fighting a little more. But I think you just kind of get more used to it the more you play it.
shutout from Thatcher Demko last night. What's it like for you guys to have the goalie tandem that you do?
Yeah, it's such a big part of our confidence as a group. Knowing that I think we take away the middle of the ice pretty well most nights, and they're going to make a lot of those outside saves, those first initial big saves, and then hopefully we can kind of clean up those rebounds for them. But it's huge for our group knowing that no matter who's in nets, we got a really good chance they're going to make some really good saves.
There's been a lot of noise around this team this year. Is it just another thing to add to the list when you see your name out there?
Unfortunately, yeah. But at the same time, with the new additions that have come in, I like our last couple games with this group going forward.
Your situation, though. I mean, you committed to the city when you signed a contract here. I think you want to be here, obviously. I mean, is it internal competition? You just look at it as, just everybody's got to raise their game and do their part?
Yeah, I mean, this league, there's always going to be guys that are pushing to play it. It's the best league in the world. So you got to be ready to fight for your spot in the lineup. You got to be ready to elevate your play, and that's something that I got to do.